Some sad news to share this morning. Robert Fernandez, one of Pearl Harbor attack's last remaining survivors, has died. That's according to Stars and Stripes report. Fernandez was just 17 when he enlisted in the Navy in August of 1941. 4 months later, he was working as a cook aboard the USS Curtis, docked at Pearl Harbor the morning of the attack. He had planned on attending the annual commemoration of the attack last weekend, but a sudden downturn in his health forced him to cancel. His death leaves barely more than a dozen Pearl Harbor veterans still living. Fernandez was 100 years old.